I wanted to start this off by just throwing my hands up in the air and waving them like I just don't care, and expressing myself in some way that might give off a level of positivity. That's even a real word. I'm so illiterate I can't access a dictionary or find out how to properly operate a computer to tell me what that word means, if it even exists. As far as I know, it doesn't. But I thought a great deal about the just situation I found myself in over the last few months, and kind of where my disillusions or levels of discomfort with everyday life stem from. Because I try to be optimistic about most things and try to essentially act in a manner that indicates I'm very well off or interested. Just in the sense that, I realize people have things that are more, detrimental than my own turmoil. And really, I try to enjoy what I have. But there's a certain level of human interaction and human comfort and just human relations that you can't replace with any car, any house, any piece of technology. And it just really dawns on me that is the case time and time again when I talk about, I might have this one day, I might have that one day. And it makes me just almost want to throw my hands in the air and resign my fate. And that is what I've chosen to do as of this. When I wrote my novel, I envisioned telling a story that would aim to appeal to people who had been through a similar situation, experienced a type of scenario that perhaps could relate to the subject of harassment or bullying or anything that really has bothered someone that was the result of another person messing with them. Now, the goal of that was not to earn money and break out and yeah, I'm cool. No, that was quite frankly the reverse. And I think I've said this multiple times in previous videos. I am not disillusioned by the fact that it did not sell well. I am disillusioned by the fact that my story did not get out there. The story I wanted to tell was one that I believed was greater than me, in the sense of it was more, you could have read that, forgot my name, but knew the story. Just say, hey, the main character in that, this happens to him. I know not to let that bother me too, and my mission would have been accomplished. It would have been fine you to know who I was or remember my name. It wouldn't have mattered. But you see, you have people who are under this idea that, if he's disillusioned by it not selling, that must mean that must have been his goal all along. And it really wasn't. It was just something I sought to rationalize as a method for which corroborated the idea that it was being read at some level. So that's that. There is this constant worry I have about college and just not being able to measure up to the standards of some professors or teachers or instructors. And I've had difficulty in math before. It's a class that really does bring me down because it's something that I believe and have become thoroughly convinced over the last few years. I don't hate the class. I don't hate math as a concept, or even really math classes. In fact, actually, I try to be as engaged in those as anything else. And I know you could argue, you should be engaged in all of them. But I'm talking about, I watch, write notes, attempt to just completely enthrall myself within the period. And I don't go in there with the mindset of this is something I hate, this is something I dislike. I genuinely have retained the mindset that this is something that may be difficult but can be overcome until roughly 3 or 4 months ago. 3 or 4 months ago, that was when I just ceased having that belief and became convinced that no matter what I did, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't suffice. I wouldn't be able to overcome this obstacle that directly affects me and potentially every other part of my life from here on in. It has been affecting me for every part of my life since I've entered education at the age of 5. So that's a good 12, 13 years now. 18 at this point. And again, it wasn't, that's the point I'm trying to convey. I couldn't care less about the subject, and it wasn't something I disliked. It was something that I went into kind of neutral. And now it's the one class, one subject that I'm thoroughly convinced I cannot improve on or do anything but subpar. The only thing I'll ever be able to get out of a math class is a C or a C minus, just barely passing. And you have some people say, oh, that's all you can get, that's all right, blah, 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 still passing. But the ambitions I have, the ambitions that I seek to fulfill, and the schools that are needed for these to even become remotely possible are not accepting of C's, of this subpar work. I had a game plan, and I was willing to get up hours early in the morning. I started a practice in my 9th grade year, or freshman year of high school, getting up at 6, 5, roughly the early morning hours, and just working on school work or assignments or studying for roughly 2 or 3 hours. Now, of course, I didn't do that every single weekend, but I can promise that I have spent every week of my life studying for some class, at least while I was in school, studying for some class. Now, if that doesn't work, I really don't know what will. And I've tried multiple ways. I tried doing the problems on paper, which disillusioned me because after I failed tests, I would just think, okay, I wasted paper, and it just seemed as if I was doing more harm than good. And really, sometimes when I'm being educated at school, I do think that me being there is more harm than good. Now, I won't drop out simply because you've gotten this far, you might as well finish it. And I think there are opportunities one can have with a high school diploma that they would not normally be entitled to had they not had one. But I think about the funds of college, the student loans, the thousands of dollars they want you to shell out on room and board. I don't have that kind of money. I'm not wealthy. I'm not someone who is financially stable in the context of myself, and there's a level of guilt I feel in other people paying for me to go to school, especially close relatives who I know are capable of using that for something for them. So it bothers me that that has become an option, and I'm just expected to leech off of other people. And then working at this point, there's a couple of dimes, but that's never going to be enough to live comfortably, especially after my money is taxed off, which makes it decrease even more. You can't just straight up get $10 or $15. No, it has to be 13 or 12 or 11, or in the case of 10, 8 or 7. But the reason I'm conveying that, I wouldn't have a problem paying taxes if that were something I did at a time where I did not need the money. But if I need the money, which I'm going to need, and I'm not wealthy or can survive without, I genuinely believe now, at this point, every penny counts. That is how below the barrel I have come to view myself financially. I'm not talking about the settings of other people. I'm talking about me. And I'm not going to be someone who mooches off of other people. So it's all just kind of piled in on me, that and the book, and it's really contributed to this morbid view I have about my situation. And the thing that sucks is if you go and convey these types of things to people, there's always talks of suicide or the potential situation revolving around that. Really, I have no desire to end my own life, for the simple fact that I live for the curiosity of seeing whether or not it improves, whether or not something happens that by chance or by my own measure changes the situation. That's ultimately what I want to see. And I can live for another 30 years, and if it never changes, and I'm 18 now, so 48, and it still hasn't changed, I won't be mad, because I still tried. I still, attempted to see what would happen. I didn't just give up. And I think in acting out on a suicidal inclination, which I don't have, but nonetheless, in doing so, I would be giving up. So again, the curiosity keeps me going, and it just, even then, still pales in comparison to this ongoing, lingering feeling I have that things I do still won't make a difference financially or benefit me in the ways that I intend to be. I wish to be benefited. I'm willing to study for these classes, but it just seems as if it's to no avail. And this is material I cannot get, I cannot understand, and it just appears impossible. So that's why this whole process of, might not go to college, might not pass classes, might not take out loans. This is Endgame. That's why I'm calling it this, because I don't know what else to do. I've just exhausted my resources as far as I'm concerned, and it really just appears that things aren't looking good. I'm losing. That's the best way to put it. So I thank you for watching, and have a good day.